Welcome to Conversations with My Real Friends. I'm Jennifer. I'm here with my friend Ed. Ed is a trust and estate attorney here in Westlake Village, and today we're going to be talking about transfer upon death deeds. So most attorneys are not a big fan of this document. The document was developed by the legislature with the idea of avoiding the need for an attorney, right?
Exactly. Trying to get us out of the business.
Get us out, right? So let's talk about them, what they are, how they work, when they are a viable option, and what people should know.
So just to be clear, I think transfer on death deeds are great because they're an option.
Right.
And there are many options to consider. The important issue is to figure out which one is best suited for your needs and your situation. And so a transfer on death deed is fairly new here in California, but it essentially works very similar to a beneficiary designation.
Okay.
There are transfer on death or TOD instructions for bank accounts, investment accounts, and it works very similarly, almost exactly the same for real property in California.
Right.
And because they're an option, they can be used for many instances where you don't need elaborate estate planning. There's not a lot of tax issues.
Right.
There's not a lot of beneficiaries where potentially there are not going to be any issues.
Right. There's not going to be these competing claims, or
Exactly.
they don't have all these other assets. Part of the importance of a trust is managing a whole estate. If your only real asset is the one property, this might be a quick, easy, cheaper way to manage it.
Absolutely. So you have to factor in some of the limitations that they bring. Because it is a transfer on death, you actually have to pass away, right?
Correct.
And people are like, what do you mean? Well, you have to pass away.
Right.
Statistically, you don't pass away right away. You could be in a coma. You could be mentally incapacitated for up to 7 years statistically.
Right.
And so you might need to go to probate because
to get somebody in control of the estate.
Like a conservatorship, for example, which, if you're trying to minimize fees, a transfer on death is going to be more expensive if you need a conservatorship, for example. So that would be one limitation. Number two is the beneficiary needs to survive you. Right?
Yeah.
What if you're in the same plane or in the same car or Romeo and Juliet?
Right.
Don't do that. Don't do Romeo and Juliet.
No.
Right? And that I know, there is no option to list a secondary beneficiary.
There's not.
So you have to pay very attention.
Yeah.
What if you put your girlfriend, right? And by the time you pass away, she's now your ex-girlfriend.
Right.
Right? So make sure that the person that you list is the person that you intend.
Right.
It doesn't work for minors. A lot of things don't work for minors, right? But if a minor inherits, that won't work. They'll have to wait to reach the age of majority, which is 18 here in California.
Right.
And then with respect to the properties itself, there are some limitations. Multi-unit dwelling, it's limited to 4 units only.
Right.
Right? So if you have 5 or more, this is not going to work.
Right.
And then with respect to acreage, it's less than 40 acres, which California doesn't have a lot of these, but we do, right? But be aware of some of these limitations because they do not work in every instance.
Not commercial property, right? Things like that.
Right.
This is really designed for a low-cost alternative to estate planning, but because often it's done without the support of an attorney, in my experience, they're often done wrong. And the problem with that is we don't usually figure it out until after the person has died, and then you're in a lurch because the document won't transfer title clearly and we don't have a correction method to fix it.
Absolutely. And so with respect to liability, I encourage practitioners to think twice because this is newer and we haven't really figured out all of the issues, just like with any new law. And so when you hold yourself out there doing this, just be aware of some of these issues.
Right. And if you are going to use this option, get help.
Yes.
An attorney can help you with a transfer upon death deed just as much as we can with a trust or whatever method you want to do.
Absolutely.
Right. So if someone wants to talk to you about how to plan their estate, how can they reach you?
We're at Crest Law Group here in Westlake Village, California. You can reach us online at oakcrestlaw.com or on the phone at 818-597-8800.
Great. Thanks, Ed, for joining me.
Thanks, Jennifer.
And thank you for joining us for this episode of Conversations with My Real Friends. We appreciate you watching.